Rolling with the triple C, I'ma make them bend the knee. Rolling with the triple C, don't really count the heat.
Then it comes to heavy hands, and that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about what he just did, but you give him distance and you start swinging with this man, eventually these punches are gonna land because you fear it. And that was like 40-some seconds. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. Misses, his hips are out, but he's coming back. He kind of had his eyes closed on that one. And he eventually just covered distance, and he's eventually gonna land. What's up, guys? Header Cejudo here, aka Triple C. Welcome to this episode of Fight Feedback, where I'm going to be dissecting the man with the most vicious power in UFC history. That's right, the most vicious power. His name is Francis Ngannou. What has made Francis Ngannou great? How much does he have to evolve? Or better yet, can he translate that MMA striking into the boxing ring? Guys, this is brought to you by the one and only Fruit, with 15 servings of fruits and veggies in every bottle. Go to your local Kroger's, Fry's, and go get yourself some. Triple C's down 15 pounds. You're next. Anyhow, enough talk. Let's take it to the big screen. Okay, so we're gonna start off here. My producer wants me to watch this film. I think I have a feeling what it is. I think it's anyway, you know what? Let's hit the play button.
I got eyes everywhere, bro.
What's up, bro?
I got eyes everywhere.
Oh, look, Francis Ngannou.
What's up, small man?
What's up, small man?
Double champ, biscuit champ.
I said double champ, Olympic champ.
Like, for me, it's like being a champ in the schoolyard.
Right? I told Francis 2 UFC titles and
Two UFC belts against
What do you
one.
got to say about that, Francis?
Oh, what are you doing?
They lost the words.
Get out of my face.
Man, I think Michael Wando almost shitted his pants. But anyways, that's an introduction. I wanted, Francis is a really big human. I think maybe around that time he was probably close to about 300 pounds, about solid muscle. Anyhow, let's get to the tape. Yeah, so here we have it, the first fight here. We have Francis at this point, he was number 2 against former champion Ciryl dos Santos. Pretty much everything's practically pretty much the same, but this right here. Look at the reach advantage here. He's got 6 inches reach advantage on Ciryl dos Santos. Let's hit the play button. Kick, beautiful, nice kick by Francis. And then that's one thing that I think like Francis could really start pulling out, especially if I think you need more of this. People see a lot of this, but this is the stuff where Francis could really make a difference where people would just fear him overall. There's another kick. That's 2 kicks in 15 minutes. I'm sorry, that's 2 kicks in 15 seconds. This is what he needs more of. Yep. And once he starts to find range, you start allowing and letting Francis Ngannou in that close. Once he gets into striking range, there's not a more dangerous fighter in MMA history that has the power that Francis Ngannou has. And there goes that other kick. Boom. Yep. You start to hit the peroneal nerve, it's gonna start to save these hands. Yep. Ooh. Catches them from the back. Catches them from the back, guys, and that's all it takes. It takes one time for Francis Ngannou to hit you, and you're gonna be seeing double. You do not want to be in close range with him at all. That punch is the one that did it, which to us looked like he barely touched it. But when you get a heavy hand and it hits in the right place, I mean, that's all she wrote. I mean, we're literally a minute 10 in and the fight is over. Yeah, you do not want to be, like, Francis is just throwing, like, he just has the ability just to find you and just throw and be confident with his power. That's the shot that did it. Right on the chin. Wobbled them, wiggled them. And, the man's, that's all she wrote. His greatest gift, Francis Ngannou's his greatest gift is he's a risk taker. He has a lot of power that by the time he throws that power and that power lands, it's something to not be dealing with. Like, it's a trip. Yep, and here we have it. I was actually, and I'm gonna tell you guys something real quick about this story too. I remember I was the co-main event under Gaethje Ferguson. This is the first time UFC, pretty much since COVID came, and we were able to have our first event. But I remember by the time Francis went up to fight Rozenstruik, I knew that I had literally a minute, not even count that fight, because I was going to be up next. I know this is what I'm trying to say is this man has a power that if you're able to exchange, you're going to get hurt. You know, look, notice Francis not coming in just yet. He's firing his distance. He's trying to really just fight. Then it comes to heavy hands, and that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about what he just did, but you give him distance and you start swinging with this man, eventually these punches are gonna land because you fear it. And that was like 40-some seconds. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. Misses, his hips are out, but he's coming back. He kind of had his eyes closed on that one. And he eventually just covered distance, and he's eventually gonna land. You know, look at Francis. I'm sorry, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel. I remember Daniel even saying this fight. He's like, man, I would not want to go back to heavyweight and fight this. This dude's too dangerous. I would not want to go to sleep. Yep, and here we have it. This is, I want to say this is the second fight with Stipe Miocic. Again, there's an age difference here, the same height. You know, 3-inch reach advantage here. This is where Stipe came in a little lighter. I'm not too sure if that was going to be a good thing for Stipe to come in lighter against a bigger guy like him. Anyhow, let's hit the play button. I think this is when we started kind of seeing the evolution of Francis. Notice how he's going on bottom here. You know, he's just baiting this dude. Which doesn't seem like much, but now you're starting to give this guy another point of view that's going to potentially be happening down here to eventually come up top. You see, he goes high, comes low, comes up top again, making him think to eventually set up that right hand. High, low, and then high again. Boom. This is the Francis Ngannou that you want. This is the technical Francis Ngannou with that vicious power that he has. If he's able to become more of that fighter, he'd be a lot more dangerous even what he is now. Boom. Just his power is just lethal. Even though he blocked it there, like, you'll still rattle you. I don't know, his foot did catch it. His foot did catch Stipe's head. Yup, Stipe, you're doing the wrong thing. Don't expose yourself here. Don't go to the body with the guy. And don't go, see how he's leaving himself open? Go in here, but he's leaving himself open. Look, Stipe had the ability to kick. Boom. Yeah, you just cannot be in this zone. This is the Francis zone right here. The closer you get in, the more probability this guy's gonna get in. The closer you get to Francis Ngannou, the more in trouble you're going to be. You need to realize that. You got to respect the man who has abnormally freaking crazy power, dude. You know, the biggest heavyweight in UFC history. Yo, I'd be like, if I was his coach, I'm like, catch your distance, get out, get away. Yeah, he's out. Get out completely. This is the second round. Yeah, Stipe he was just too much. He's trying to get into an exchange flurry with them, and you can't do that. You can't get in an exchange battle with a guy like Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou has such vicious power. That's like playing with a cobra that's venom. You know what I mean? That's got crazy venom in it. It's going to eventually sting you. So stay away, catch your distance. Learn how to fight it different. Learn how to fight this man different. Why be in those exchanges? And yep, you don't want to be in that position. And again, whoa, look at DC over here. Look at DC, man. He's like, thank God I'm retired. Thank God I ain't get that smoke for Francis Ngannou. And he knows it, man. DC's honest. DC would really have to really use his wrestling because he's short. And Francis, that would be a tough fight for DC. But a smart DC would come in and just pretty much just try to grapple him, try to waste his energy in that sense, and then maybe take it off and carry it off to the later rounds. And here we have it against, 10-pound difference, same height. If you notice, all these heavyweights are the same height. 2-inch reach advantage for Francis. And then this is the fight where I felt like Francis Ngannou could have really made, obviously he used the wrestling, which kudos to him, but I felt like this is where you could kind of expose some of Francis Ngannou's fight, especially now the fact that he's gonna end up doing he's gonna be jumping over to boxing. You're probably more likely to be able to expose him through the movement of this man right here. Let's hit the play button. Yeah, notice Gane. Notice Gane is moving. Like he's just not, he's out. He's got his hands up. He's just moving. You know, it's still a dangerous position for him against Francis, but you know, 2 minutes in, yep, these in the front kicks. Boom, going body up high, but he's constantly like this. And that's kind of how you constantly have to be with Francis. Boom. He knows it's vicious. He knows the power is vicious, but he just has to get out the way, and he's very conscious about it. And Francis, man, Francis was throwing leg kicks, impressive in this fight. And then I want you guys to notice how much, because of his movement, how much Francis was able to miss. You see, the more you're able to get this man to throw and miss, the more it'll fatigue him, because he's coming in with power. You know, boom, miss. This is where you would want to invest in, you know, bring the fight. But this is where Francis Ngannou win this fight. Covered distance, and instead of actually throwing with the hands, he shot in for the takedown. Watch. Boom, got close, and he had to level change. That's how strong he is. That's how strong he is for him to pick up that double and pretty much just lift the hips. Watch. But that's another trait that Francis could have. Once he's in, like, he's just lifting. Boom, dropping him down. Like, you're talking about abnormal power, and that's Francis Ngannou. Yup, nice uppercut and then back. Francis is understanding the idea of how to cover distance. That's gonna make him so much scarier. Notice how he really breaks distance with that uppercut. Boom, now he's in. Now he level changes, gets, you know, locks his hands to eventually get the takedown. That's going to be a scary Francis Ngannou. Francis who can also wrestle. I mean, it's almost like he's starting to show different traits that he's actually complete. He's not just a guy that has power, which is the most dangerous, but now he's starting to use the takedowns. He's starting to have confidence in that. And I don't care how big of a heavyweight you are, if this man grabs a hold of you, he's gonna take you down just based off of pure strength. The next question that I have is, can he do work on ground and pounding? Yeah, just pull them. This is just pure strength. With the average human wouldn't be able to get. Gane didn't do a good job. He didn't do a good job of staying against the fence. He let him kind of pull him off. It's not good. The fence could also help you. You could rest. Ooh, beautiful shot by Gane. Yeah, beautiful shot by Gane. And this is where I feel both of these guys would have trouble with the Jon Jones because of that. And then I feel like this is the fight. This is where he messed up. He should have never went for that leg lock. You're winning the fight, bro. You just had to stay on top of him for 3 more minutes. The world championship was yours. But you decided to do this, and because you decided to do that, that was it. You know, that was match. You know, it's hard to do something when you're completely sweaty. But kudos to Francis. Francis had knee problems leading up to that fight. I remember they had talked about it, but now he was able to secure himself as a heavyweight champion of the world, and now he's leaving the UFC. So now let's get to what I call the 3 T's: the techniques, the tactics, and the threshold. Let's grade Francis Ngannou. Let's go. So the techniques, the tactics, and the threshold. Every time I think of this for Francis Ngannou, I get confused, because you really start to understand his gift, but really his ultimate gift out of all of these is right here, his threshold. Because the more I think about it, Francis Ngannou has power. and he's been able to use his threshold accordingly, where he's been able to knock people the hell out, literally, like freaking make them go limp, like make them just go to another planet. Typically, the threshold for a lot of people, they tend to over punch themselves and things of that nature. But with Francis, man, he's been knocking everybody out. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Even though I feel like this is his greatest gift, but it's also his worst gift too, because he lives by the sword. He knocks you out, or he could potentially get stopped. And we saw that in the fights that he's had with Stipe, the ones that he did lose. Completely losing his energy. But for that reason, because of his high probabilities and just based off of numbers, I'm gonna have to give Francis Ngannou a number 9. I just can't give him a 10 because I just can't. So you guys shoot me. For his technique right here, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot for Francis to learn and to grow. He's got the hands, he's got powers, but I need to see more leg kicks. I would like to see more investments in the leg kicks, and I would love to see more offensive wrestling. As we saw in that fight with Gane, he did get taken down. He needs to probably work on his wrestling defense against a guy like John Jones. This is where you want to be really, really careful and cautious. You're gonna have to be well-rounded, or you go for broke and you just focus on your threshold, on taking risks and giving the power that you have in order for you to win. But for the technique, I'm gonna have to give Francis Ngannou a 7.5. A 7.5. Because, and it's not a 7.5, and that means he's got 2.5. He's got 2.5 to really grow. You see what I'm saying? So the grading here is not based on, the grading here to me is based on how much better he could still get. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like me dogging him. It might be, maybe just a little, but it's really based on the opportunities of how better a Francis Ngannou could get. The tactics. His tactics, it's another thing. I think second to his threshold of this tactics, he knows this is where it's at. He's had the ability with Ciryl Gane to make those adjustments in that fight to be able to take him down. What I'm saying is he does have a receptive mind. He's been able to do that. It's just crazy that it happened to be his last fight, but to really understand his tactical game, the fact that he only used his hands, and then when it came to Francis, and then when it came to Ciryl Gane, it was different. He was able to make those adjustments. So I'm gonna have to give him an 8 here. You know, I'll give him an 8 because I would love to see more kicks. I would love to see a lot more of that stuff, but all these together, man. Can we add up the score, dude? By the way, I was a average student in math. Probably should really have flown.
24.5.
Yeah, is it 24.5? Yeah, so 24.5 out of 30. So that's where it's at, guys. I'm breaking it down according to how good that he could still get. These numbers ain't bad. So thanks again for watching, guys. This episode was brought to you by the sole sponsor that we have, Fruit, with 15 ounces of fruits and veggies in every bottle. You guys make sure to go to your local Fry's or Kroger's and go get yourself some damn Fruit. I hope you guys enjoyed Fight Feedback. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C, and we will deliver. And we are out! So thank you guys again for watching. It means a lot to me. So you guys remember, there's more breakdowns, there's more technique, there's more tactics, and there's definitely more cringe. So make sure to subscribe and click on that button. I'm out!